going to try to finish up this language lesson. So remember that an adjective, we talked about those three little words, a, an, and the, and those are adjectives that tell something about nouns. Adjectives describe nouns. A noun is a person, place, or thing. An adjective describes or tells about a noun. Adjectives can answer two questions. They can tell what kind, or they can tell how many. Okay, so I can tell what kind of pen do I have? I have a red pen. Red is my adjective, pen is my noun. How about pencil? What kind of pencil? Blue pencil. Blue is my adjective, pencil is my noun. Or I can say that I have, how many erasers do I have? 2 erasers. 2 tells how many, and it's an adjective. Alright, so adjectives tell how many or what kind. Adjectives can also be used to compare things. So often when we're talking or writing, we use an adjective to compare two things. I should have just not picked up my books, maybe. Set them down again. So I have these two things, and both of them we can write with, right? So, but the pencil is bigger than the pen. My pencil is bigger than the pen, but the pen is smaller than the pencil. So I use an adjective, smaller and bigger, to describe, to compare my pen and my pencil. Now, what is in common? What is the same about those words that I used? I used the word bigger, and I used the word smaller. Okay, so what is the same about those words? They both end in ER. Okay, we added the suffix ER to compare two things. When we're comparing two things, we use the suffix ER added to the end of an adjective to compare two things. Alright, so we can also compare 3 or more things by using an adjective. So I have 3 plants here, and I think you should be able to see my 3 plants. I have this one, pretty pink flower, and a nice ivy, and a snake plant. Okay, so I have my 3 plants. Now, this little pink flower is the smallest of the 3 plants. Alright, the smallest one. I'm comparing my 3 plants. This one is the biggest of my 3 plants. My ivy is the biggest. Okay, so when I'm comparing 3 or more things, I add EST to my adjective to compare. So when I'm comparing 2 or more things, I add ER to my adjective. If I'm comparing 3 or more things, I add EST. Biggest and smallest. Now, did you notice that in big, remember we doubled the consonant because big is a short vowel word that ends with one consonant. Big is my root word. So I doubled the G before I added my suffix that begins with a vowel. And the same as when I added EST to biggest. So we're going to practice adding ER and EST to some words, to some adjectives. These are all adjectives because they can tell about a noun. We can say, what kind of night? Dark night. What kind of rain? Wet rain. We hope it's wet. And what kind of boy? Happy boy. Now we can compare 2 different nights by adding ER to dark. So I could say, last night was darker than the night before. So I could say, last night was darker than the night before. But I could also say, if I'm comparing 3 or more things, I could say, out of the last 3 nights, Saturday night was the darkest night. You see how we did that? We compared 3 or more things, so we added EST. Now, what about wet? I could say today is a lot wetter than it was on Saturday, right? Today is a lot wetter than it was on Saturday. But if I'm comparing all the days of last week, maybe I would say, I don't even know which one was the wettest, but I could say that today is the wettest day of the week. And then we have happy. If I compare 2 or more two boys, I could say that this boy is happier than this one, and add ER, and it ends with a Y, so I'm going to change my Y to I before I add my suffix that begins with a vowel. But if I'm comparing 3 boys up here, I could say that this boy is the happiest of all the boys.